Today's episode of Opening Scenes is here. It's fresh. It's new. This is our second installment in the series. If you saw last month's, you know we did The Dark Knight, the Christopher Nolan masterpiece. And now this month, total left turn. Cousin Adrian is back. We talk our reactions to this movie when we saw it, not to mention our reactions on the rewatch. We talk categories and we break down the opening scene. Went deep on this classic. So, get ready for opening scenes. Cousin Adrian is back. Here we go. We are back. Cousin Adrian is joining me for the second installment of Opening Scenes. Our kickoff premiere episode was last month, but now we're back for number 2. Cousin Adrian, welcome back to the show.
What is going on, Pat? I'm back. I'm ready. Let's get the show rolling.
So we're doing opening scenes last month. We're just dissecting opening scenes of some favorite movies from recent history, interesting movies that caught our eye. This month, our movie to dissect on opening scenes is Mean Girls from 2004 is our choice. I saw this movie in 2004, rewatched it, did all the study in this. A lot of thoughts moving forward on this movie. And I know you do too as well, because you never seen this movie.
Right. It's my first time watching the movie.
Was there a reason why you didn't see this in 2004 or never got around to it?
Funny that you ask. I have a very drawn out reason why I didn't watch it. So
oh wow. Well, we have a lot to get into.
Let's rewind the clocks back to 2008. I was a sophomore in high school. First girlfriend. Her favorite movie was Mean Girls. She constantly quoted the movie. She's like, "You got to watch Mean Girls. You got to watch Mean Girls." Lo and behold, she cheats on me like a month after that, and then now I just have this. It's so like that movie is just associated with so much pain and heartbreak. From first heartbreak, man. So I was like, "Fuck Mean Girls."
Oh, right. You can hate certain things by association. Movies, bands. You can hate certain bands due to like someone that liked the band. TV shows. Yes. Yeah. So yeah, we really picked a scab with this one.
Yeah.
But oh yeah, well, joke's on you because I like Spin City.
Right. Yeah, I'm sure none of that was reciprocated. So
what was your movie then? Like, did you have a movie that you were like, that was your go-to movie that like maybe someone would break up with you over and be like, you know what? Screw Adrian and screw the Mummy.
The Mummy. Yeah, I don't think anyone.
Screw Shanghai Nights.
No one's gonna be losing any sleep over me. Let's just put it that way, Pat.
Yeah. Hey, that's all right. That's what this show's for.
Is it though? Just kidding.
We're still figuring it out. Well, Mean Girls is our pick. You'd never seen it, so this is a trip down harsh memory lane. I saw the movie circa 2004, so I had some thoughts on it as well. So we have a lot to break down. This movie, just a couple of background details on the movie, came out 2004, based off of the book called Queen Bees and Wannabes by Rosalind Wiseman. Tina Fey wrote the screenplay, produced by Lorne Michaels. It is 84% on Rotten Tomatoes. So it kind of brings me to my first big picture question as we dissect the overall topics of this movie. Was this the last great SNL movie? Like, go through SNL movies. There really aren't that many good ones if you think about it.
Right. Let's see. Maybe Bill. Yeah, I can't think of you see, yeah, because I don't really know specifically what Lorne Michaels has produced in like the past couple of years, you know what I'm saying? Definitely nothing coming from this last class of it. Am I alone here? Is this the worst SNL has ever been? The worst SNL has ever been, rather?
You know, I would answer that, but I haven't watched SNL in probably 10 years. Like I
Enough
don't even
said.
watch it.
Oh,
It's so silly and cheesy. I
it's
think
too topical.
I think the weekend update has good jokes and stuff. I just watch it from clips. But like once the jokes got so smart, maybe I aged out too. I'm willing to accept that I have aged out of SNL. But it seems
Uh,
like the jokes are also silly and
too
dumb,
too inside, too witty, too political.
too political, too inside. Like I don't know if you remember this, but do you remember the week of the election when Donald Trump got elected? He won on
Right.
a Tuesday. SNL goes live Saturday night, and the
Chappelle.
opening cold open was Amy Poehler dressed as Hillary Clinton,
Oh,
and she sings Ave Maria on the piano.
what
And
the
I'm watching
fuck?
it going like, isn't this a comedy? Aren't we
Right.
supposed to be funny? Like what happened to this show? Like you're supposed to make parody no matter the situation. You're supposed to lampoon both
Hmm.
sides. And it really lost me, but I really think SNL is the perfect age for SNL is 16 to 24 years old because that's essentially the cast age or a little
Right.
older. And then once you
Yep.
age out of it, maybe you don't relate to the cast anymore.
Right. Yeah. But
I
in
mean, my
terms of
SNL class was Farley, Sandler, Will Ferrell, Tracy Morgan, and I don't know who's on it now. To be honest, Chris Red, he was on it,
yeah, um, Colin Jost. I don't know. The
right?
dude.
Yep.
That's it. Yeah. I don't. My mom is a huge fan of SNL, so if I do watch any of SNL, it's probably just tidbits here and there. But no, it's just no.
She
It's
still
so
watches
too
it.
woke. She does. Yeah. My mom is super woke, so she's into woke the wokest and SNL that we've ever had. But the weekend update is still kind of funny, little bit,
Yeah,
not
I
really.
remember also Bill Hader. Remember Bill Hader
Now
when
that,
he was on?
yeah, it's
That
always
guy was
funny.
so good.
It's always funny how like the previous class of SNL reminds you how shitty like the current one is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like back when you had Bill Hader, it's like, oh my god, I wish we could go back into the Will Ferrell era, and then now we're like, God, I'd
Yes.
kill for a Bill Hader skit. Yeah.
Well, I lived through the in between years where it was after Farley and Mike Myers, but before Will Ferrell and stuff, where it was bad. It was really, really bad. It was like Chris Elliott bits, and it was rough. So I went through a dark period, and then it came back with the Will Ferrell, Sherry O'Terry, Tina Fey world. So SNL does have the precedent of going through a valley and coming back. Although
Yeah.
I think we're just so saturated with TV now that there's too many options. There's so many options when it comes to TV that SNL is not high on the list anymore. Do your friends watch it?
No. No. Oh,
I have not
actually, I have a
even
couple
had
friends.
I
Yeah,
haven't had a
but
conversation about a sketch on SNL in years. You know, it used to be you'd
yeah.
go to school or you'd go to work and be like, did you see this sketch on SNL? And you talk about it like that has not come up in forever.
In fact, I was at my friend's house, a good friend of mine, one of my best friends, and he was watching SNL, and I thought he put it on like so that we could like rip on it. So like everything, I was just ripping. Hold on, Windows popped up for no fucking reason. So I thought we were like hate watching it. So I was just talking shit, and then like about like 20 minutes later, he's like, "Dude, can you shut the fuck up?" I was like, "Oh, whoa, whoa." It was like, "Oh, damn." I thought like we were, yeah. So I was like, "Oh, he likes his show." So I felt
Hmm.
bad.
So the fans are still out there.
They're still out there, yeah. And I feel bad ripping on SNL too, because it's like so many people would die to be on that show.
Yeah,
It's
that's
like, who
true.
fucking lie to rip on that
People
show, you know
kill
what
to
I'm
be
saying?
on it, and it's just such an institution as well
Right,
for American pop culture. I mean, think how hard it is to do that show. Once a week, you have to write an entirely new show about what happened that week.
right.
Not easy to do. So like when a sketch bombs, like I don't blame them. I know it's hard to
Hmm.
do, but I have lost touch with SNL. That and the NBA. I've lost touch with the NBA too around the same time. I can't keep up.
Can't keep. Yeah, I'm a playoff kind of guy when it comes to the NBA.
Well, speaking of SNL and that crossover to movies, I was looking at SNL movies, specifically Lorne Michaels produced movies. It seems like there's two categories. We have SNL movies that are based off of sketches from SNL, and then just movies. So we have Wayne's World, Conehead, Superstar, The Ladies' Man, Night at the Roxbury, all movies that were made after sketches of SNL. And then non-sketch movies are movies like Mean Girls, Tommy Boy, Three Amigos from back in the day. So there's a lot of range when
Right.
it comes to SNL movies. And if I'm looking at the timeline, I think Mean Girls is the last SNL movie that was good, unless you want to count MacGruber.
Oh, I love MacGruber.
Right. I think MacGruber had a time, but maybe that's a movie based off of a sketch. But
Yeah, it is. It totally
there
is.
has
Yeah.
not been an SNL, really, really heavy specific SNL movie in a long time.
Yeah. Probably because just not a lot of talented writers have been. It's not really like a. I mean, they should be getting like that is a writer factory, or
Yeah.
at least it was in the past. I
And no
guess
one
there's
has
just not a lot of.
popped on SNL as a superstar.
But you know
SNL
what it
does
is
not
too,
break
Pat?
people anymore.
You know what it is too, though. It's the sort of comedy that a lot of those film stories were rooted in. What you can't do that sort of comedy anymore. It's you can't do it in this climate, this
Yeah.
political climate. Yeah, so yeah, like getting the Mean Girls, I was like, holy shit, that's hilarious. You cannot make that like nowadays,
Yeah.
but God, it's hilarious.
Yeah, there are. Yeah, just in the opening scene alone. Yeah, there's a couple of dingers in there where you're like, yeah,
Yeah,
they wouldn't say that today. Like just the gay
yeah,
jokes, the black jokes, and they're
yeah,
hilarious. And like, yeah, comedy has taken a dip for movie. I mean, just comedies in general. Like we haven't had a gross out comedy. We haven't had a raunchy comedy in
can't make them
it
anymore.
seems. Yeah, it seems 10 years. Like what was the last one? The Hangover, Bridesmaids, maybe.
Maybe.
I can't think of that raunchy comedy. Comedy has to be rated R and it has to really push the buttons. And I don't think we want to do that anymore.
Yeah. It's funny. It's not funny. It's peculiar because I think people still will go see those movies too. I don't know what
I
the
definitely
holdup
think the
is.
audience would. I agree. I think the audience has an appetite. Whether those movies get made and produced, I think is now the hurdle. So I don't know where we go from here other than like any other genre, like music, say, like we go through disco and now it's time for punk rock, It's going to
Yeah.
swing back the other way. And
Yeah.
maybe we will have a good gross out comedy where we can make black jokes.
Exactly. Black jokes, gay jokes.
I look forward to the day.
Yeah.
All right, next aspect of Mean Girls, Tina Fey. This movie is what broke her in my mind. Tina Fey, head
Well,
writer on SNL, writes the screenplay for Mean Girls. She is in Mean Girls as well. And then this is my interesting thought on Tina Fey. She goes on to create 30 Rock after Mean Girls. And then let me read you her next movies. Man of the Year, Baby Mama, Date Night, Admission, Sisters, Whiskey Tango Foxtrot.
are
Number one, did you see any of these movies?
are those movies that she just starred in, or did she write those movies?
There's some of both. Some she just was in, some she wrote. She wrote, I believe, Baby Mama, Date Night, Admission, and Sisters.
Man of
Whiskey
the
Tango Foxtrot as well.
Man of the Year. That's a Robin Williams
Robin
movie
Williams, right. He runs
where
for
like
president.
he's like a comedian and he's like the fucking president or some bullshit. No,
So
I didn't
this
see
is
any of those
interesting.
movies.
Yeah, that Tina Fey didn't really have another hit in the movies. 30 Rock was huge. You have to remember that. But as far as movies, I don't think we ever got a truly great Tina Fey movie after this.
To her defense, though, she's not so much of a on-screen talent as she is a writer. So
Yeah, but
I don't,
none of
yeah.
these she wrote were big hits.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, then there goes my argument.
But
Uh,
she was like a hot
but
name. She was hosting
right,
Oscars and then her name would be on the title of a movie and we'd get excited, but it petered off after this. I can't fully understand why.
and then yeah, the movie is an adaptation. I don't know how much of the credit you can give to the actual premise of the movie. So I don't know, but the writing in this movie, I gotta tell you this. So one of one of the funniest movies I've seen in a while. I'm pretty ashamed of myself that I didn't see it sooner. If it wasn't for
Last,
that goddamn high school heartbreak, I would have been.
oh, the high school heartbreak. You could have been early money on Mean Girls. You could have been making Mean Girls gay jokes.
You goddamn right.
So, the last big picture piece of this Mean Girls universe, the obvious one, Lindsay Lohan. This is her movie. She's funny in this movie. Although in the rewatch, I had a different reaction to her. But she is great in this movie. And I looked up her IMDb to see her resume. So she does The Parent Trap, Freaky Friday, Mean Girls, and the follow up to Mean Girls, Herbie Fully Loaded, Just My Luck, and then years down the road, Georgia Rule. I mean, we all know the Lindsay Lohan story. She totally fell off a cliff due to addiction, family problems. But this was a hard slide, and maybe this was her height of her powers as well, along with
Right.
Tina Fey. What do
It
you
was
think about the Lohan career? Or when you just hear Lindsay Lohan, what do you think?
yeah, I think of just like career career sabotage. But yeah, I don't know if it's so much sabotage. I mean, she had some real drug problems. Um she came out in this movie recently, The Hills, that was actually directed by Paul Schrader, who wrote Taxi Driver, and he wrote a lot of Scorsese, like his pinnacle. He wrote Raging Bull. He wrote Last Temptation of Christ. So I watched that movie. I was like, oh shit, like this has a little bit of momentum. But no, the movie was terrible. But I don't think it was her fault. But yeah, like I said though, I wasn't really keen to any Lohan movies. Maybe Parent Trap I watched, but Mean Girls, nah. Her full what was that?
Herbie Fully Loaded?
Yeah, yeah. I don't think anyone saw that movie. Uh, so
It's so odd that that was the follow up to Mean Girls.
right, but yeah, when I hear Lindsay Lohan, I think tragedy.
Yeah. Would you say, I mean, you didn't see this movie in 2004, but if you saw this in 2004, what would you have thought of Lindsay Lohan? That she's off to great things, that she's going to be a great dramatic actress, that she's going to be a great comedic actress? Because on
Right.
rewatching this, I didn't find her particularly good in this movie. I thought she was cute, she fit in, but to me, it's Rachel McAdams who steals this movie.
Okay. Well, how
What would
so?
you
Like you weren't really impressed with Lohan,
her narration is poor in this movie.
right?
Her acting is so-so. She just has to play like a shy girl. So there's almost not a lot for her to do in this movie other than react to the broad characters.
All right.
And you think about this movie because I've watched it 3 times now. The whole premise of this movie is a hot chick who doesn't know she's hot. That's the whole premise.
Right.
Is the plastics invite her in because they think she's pretty. She doesn't know she's pretty, and she just kind of falls ass backwards into this being a popular girl thing. So, which is a
Right.
tried and true premise 100 times over, but she achieves it. She does a good job with it. So I wasn't fully impressed with her from this movie alone. If this was her sole body of work, what did you think of her in this movie?
Yeah, I guess you're right. I mean, she's very endearing. She's more of like the Dante and or is it Dante in Dante's Inferno? Like more like the guide through the hell of like
Yeah.
that is hell school.
Hmm.
That is high school rather. And then she's like more of like the yeah, like more of the guide. Like and then we get a look at the plastics, more like the free, like more like how the organism that is high school works.
Hmm. Yeah, like I said, yeah, I do like her. I didn't find her completely compelling. I wonder if my thoughts were different in 2004 about her, how we loved this movie so much at the time.
Yeah.
So that aspect of it was different upon rewatch. So I mean, at the base of it, this is a tried and true high school story.
Hmm.
Fish out of water, ugly duckling, popular kids, high school years. So you watched it as an adult. Did this ring true to you? You said you thought it was funny. You liked it.
Oh, it's hilarious. It was so funny.
Hmm.
I may watch it again, in fact.
Oh, okay. So this you really liked the movie.
Oh yeah, yeah. Like I said, I wasn't lying earlier when I said I felt ashamed that I hadn't watched it prior to a couple days ago. It's
Yeah.
hilarious. The writing is so fucking good. Like I was like, oh, this is why Tina Fey is a big fucking deal. Like it's so funny.
Hmm. It definitely has that SNL slash Tina Fey stink on it. By now we've watched countless seasons of 30 Rock, so we know her style. We know the little quips, we know the little sarcastic comebacks and things like that. It is. We can tell it's written by her, and we can tell it's an SNL movie as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's an interesting high school movie. It's taken the premise of someone going to their first day of high school and getting through all the categories of students and teachers. But there's a lot going on in this movie as far as characters, because we have Lindsay Lohan, we have the Plastics and Rachel McAdams, we have the dumb brooding dude who doesn't seems to be in his own movie, doesn't seem to know what's going on with the two women
Like
all
the
the
love
time.
interest,
Yeah,
her boyfriend.
yeah,
Yeah.
the boyfriend guy, Aaron Samuels, uh, se- seems to be makes out with Rachel McAdams, and then by the end of the movie, he's making out with Lindsay Lohan.
Right.
and
And
and then
somehow he's
last,
not a piece of shit.
yeah, somehow he doesn't really like put together like you chicks are crazy.
Yeah.
And then the final piece is the Damien character and the Janice character, who are essentially the tour guides for Lindsay Lohan in the early part of the movie.
Yeah.
So a couple of
Uh,
genres going on there.
right. Then we got the SNL alums. You got Tim Meadows, the high school principal. So funny.
Yes. I don't think
Tina
we can
Fey.
have a movie every 4 years that doesn't have Tim Meadows in it. It's just,
That's so funny.
you have to have Tim Meadows in it.
And he's funny as Tim Meadows. He basically plays what I think he is like in real life.
Right. Is he like that in real life? Just normal Tim Meadows, just enters the scene.
Yeah.
I have some thoughts on Tim Meadows when we get to the categories. Um,
Hell yeah.
so we're gonna talk opening scenes, but before we get to the categories of it all, final question for our Mean Girls big picture. There is a Mean Girls 2 out there that I don't think anybody watched. Could there have been a good sequel to Mean Girls, do you think?
Let's see. Maybe like a high school reunion sort of deal.
Oh, that'd be good, like a 10-year reunion.
Yeah, maybe something like that. Maybe another idea, like maybe like Lindsay Lohan is now like a teacher because her parents were are in academia, so maybe she took in their footsteps, and maybe now she's a teacher somewhere, and it's she's sort of like the Tina Fey of that movie.
Mm. What about if Rachel McAdams is now a mom and she has a daughter, and
At
now
the
that,
school.
yeah, at the
Yeah,
school, yeah, yeah,
there
that's
we
true.
go.
Yeah, and the daughter is like a dork or something,
Yeah,
and she
yeah.
wants to be in the Mean Girls and the Plastics, but Rachel McAdams and teacher Lindsay Lohan have to put her on the right path.
Lauren Michaels, you want her phone number?
Yeah,
No,
hello,
just
let's
kidding.
break somebody, Lauren Michaels. It is kind of funny how quickly the Lindsay Lohan character just goes into full like bitchy teenager plastics girl in this movie.
Yeah,
She's like sits down with them, and like 2 weeks later she's like she's taking
yeah.
over.
Under um the disguise that she, oh, I'm just doing it to get in good with them, but like secretly she
Yeah.
wants to be part of that clique.
Yeah, she likes all the attention, which ironically, maybe this whole movie is a metaphor for Lindsay Lohan's life. Starts out okay and then gets popular and then just can't handle it.
Yeah.
Cannot handle the fame and fortune.
Yeah,
It is.
Rachel McAdams is really good in the movie though. I was like, fuck.
Yeah.
Effortless.
The casting of the plastics is probably the best part of the movie, because you mess that up. You don't have a Rachel McAdams. This movie is falls flat, I think.
Yeah.
Like she's so good. Like we all know that bitchy teenager chick from our high school who was like that, and she is so perfect. Even her like two little minions, Gretchen and I forget the other one's name.
Yeah,
Um,
Amanda. Yeah, I
right,
know.
whatever character Amanda Siegfried plays,
Yeah, I think so.
they nail it so well with that. So that's why I thought she stole the movie by the end of my third rewatch.
I'm just remembering like when she when she's wearing sweatpants and then they kick her out of the table and she bumps into that other
Oh,
heavyset girl. Watch where you're walking fast. Oh god, it's so funny.
that
Like
was
I said, I'm gonna rewatch it. It's
that
funny.
was a good SNL written quip comeback. Yep. Watch where you're going, fat ass.
And she's totally not fat too. That's the funny part too. It's like she looks like almost like I think they added like some prosthetic ass cheeks or something.
She's so good. So let's dive into the opening scene. Unless you have any more thoughts on our big picture topic for Mean Girls. Um, okay, the opening scene. Let me give you some details on the opening scene before we debate it. First of all, it starts with the song is called "Rip Her to Shreds" by Boomcat. We have a narration by Lindsay Lohan's character. The introduction of Tina Fey in this opening scene is such a bummer. Tina Fey is really bitchy in this opening scene. And of course, Tim Meadows comes in. But what I like about the opening scene is we have the high school montage. We go through the high school, we do some categories of groups of people in the high school as well. So, what did the opening scene do for you?
So you got to remember it was my first time watching it, so so the like the very opening shot, like the very opening, where the parents are like, have a good first day at school. And it's Lindsay Lohan, like clearly like a young adult teenager. And I was like, oh fuck, this is like already hilarious. Because like I said, like I just knew like it's Mean Girls, Lindsay Lohan. I didn't know like any other than it was like a high school movie. And I kind of knew like sort of knew like it was like she's like in this clique with a bunch of bitches. So like that, it was like, what the fuck? Like I didn't know if she had like a learning disability or like what it was. So like right off the bat, I'm hooked.
Also, I had a thought when you brought up the parents. Oddly, the parents are really hardly in this movie. The Lindsay Lohan character parents. They go through this whole thing like how the mom is like scared to let her like go to school because she's homeschooled, and they see her off to school and they get nervous because the bus goes by. That's about that's about the last we see of them in the whole movie. They don't know what's going on in her life for this whole movie. They don't
Yeah,
check on her like, hey, you're wearing a lot more makeup these days. What's going on? They have nothing to do with her in this movie until the very end.
yeah. There's like one scene where the father grounds her for I think like I don't remember exactly. I don't know if it's like
Yeah, he doesn't know what
that's
to do. He's like, what's grounded again?
I like yeah, I like how he grounds her and then how she still leaves and then like it's like, well, how is she grounded? Like he doesn't even know what grounding means. Yeah,
I don't
exactly. You're grounded.
it almost feels like there might have been more parent scenes, but they all got cut out. It's like I thought you parents were heavily involved.
Yeah.
Now they're like, just go to high school. We're not gonna do anything with you for the next 8.5 months.
Yeah, that's kind of strange. I
Well,
mean, what
let's
do they expect? I mean, like she's been homeschooled. Well, yeah, that's actually kind of like if there is one hole in the movie, it's like what the fuck? These people are like professors. What do they think is gonna happen?
yeah, yeah, exactly. I don't know where they went for the whole school year.
Like, what are
Like,
they
who are these?
upset about?
Yeah, who are your new friends? Who are you hanging out with? Why are you wearing these clothes now?
Yeah,
No questions like that from the parents that were so involved 1 year
yeah.
ago. So, some thoughts on the parents. Now, I would say the opening scene is almost up for debate though, because I have the opening scene as that first day of school and ending with um with her eating the lunch in the bathroom stall. That scene is 3 minutes 48 seconds long. Now
Oh,
you
I cut mine pretty like
Oh, so
before
you change your I was going to say you could do that scene or you could go all the way up into the introduction of the plastics as an opening scene as well. Because they're not really not in the movie until, 5 minutes in. So I had the opening scene as that first 3 minutes, 48 seconds when she eats lunch in the bathroom stall. Where did you have your opening scene to?
Fuck, I had it like in the classroom where
Oh,
where
yeah.
she gets like the coffee on her shirt.
Yeah. It could
But
be,
no,
it could be that too.
I can roll with that too, though.
Yeah. It
I
could be
remember
that
it good
too.
enough to go with that.
Right. It is a odd opening scene because we have the music montage, we have the narration, and then it stops for that classroom scene.
Hmm.
And then it picks up again with more music after that. So
Right.
it's a really long, disconjointed scene. It works, but after I watch it a bunch of times, you're like, where does this scene actually end? I mean, you could argue the opening scene is the Africa or moving from Africa too, I guess.
Yeah. We needed to review The Departed because that may be the longest opening scene in the history of cinema. Because the credits roll like fucking half an hour in, or the
I
opening title
joined the
rather.
States.
Right. You're
Yeah,
not
that's
a fucking cop.
I'm not a cop. I can watch that movie right now. I want to hear Leonardo DiCaprio say the word cop in his Boston accent.
Yeah.
What's the matter? Are you on your period?
You know what I like about restaurants? You learn a lot watching things eat. Come on, eat something. The
That movie's
fuck?
ridiculous.
Right? Oh god.
I do like that one scene where they're infiltrating the Jack Nicholson gang and they like have their cell phones and Alec Baldwin is like, we got the cell phones. Patriot Act, Patriot Act. He's all happy,
Yeah, yeah. They have like a huge sting operation.
right?
Yeah,
He's
and
all
then
cheering that they
yeah,
have access to their phones.
and then Matt Damon somehow is able to pull off a text like in his pocket.
Oh,
Like we
right. That was the
believe
height
that
of
shit.
keyboard texting.
Yeah,
All
yeah.
right.
We
Maybe
really believe
Departed
that
should be
Scorsese.
maybe The Departed should be on one of our opening scenes.
I mean, just from this discussion alone, it probably should be because, like I said, the opening titles roll like 28 minutes into the movie, probably even longer. So,
It might still be going on.
yeah.
All
You
right,
guys
then
had a
back.
okay, go ahead. No, I was
I was
gonna
gonna
go
say
into another
back. No, we can
diatribe.
keep going on Departed.
No. I was gonna talk about a different movie, but no, I don't want to divert the conversation.
All right, back to Mean Girls. I have as a type of opening scene. We have a montage. We have the classic high school montage for this movie, and I have my opening scene where she eats lunch in the bathroom. But if you keep going, then we get the totally mandatory description of all the groups of high schoolers by Damien and Janice. I wrote them down for you. There's like 13 of them. We have freshmen, ROTC guys, which I still don't know what ROTC guys are. Preps, JV jocks, Asian nerds, cool Asians, varsity jocks, unfriendly black hotties, girls who eat their feelings, girls who don't eat anything, desperate wannabes, burnouts, sexually active band geeks, and finally, the plastics.
That's the like most. When I heard sexually active band members, I was like, so fucking funny. There's so everyone like there was so many of those. Well, I went to a. I know you went to all boys high school.
Right.
So I went to a public high school. I know she got the clicks down like to a T, which
Yeah,
is
I was
why.
gonna say if these clicks rung true for you. I mean, the one that gets me is unfriendly black hotties. is so
Kinda, yeah,
specific, so funny.
yeah.
So did you have any of these groups in your high school, or would you
All of
add
them.
any?
Would I add any? Let's
Well, we
see.
had because
Yeah,
where we grew up, border town, we had something
right.
called Frunchies, which
Fronties.
is which is essentially Euro trash for Mexican people, I guess you would
Right,
say. They're like trendy, they have nice cars, they hang together. We had Frunchies in our region of the country. We
right.
definitely would add to this if it was us.
So at a girls in my high school, so we had fresas as well,
Oh, right. Yeah.
which is a mirror to the fronchi. Fronchi, fresa.
Gotcha. That's true. I forgot
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd probably be the only thing, but everything else is pretty much dead on.
Yeah.
Uh, gang members. They left
Oh,
out gang members.
members. We could have went gang members. Yeah.
Yeah.
That
Lots
would have
of
been
gang
good.
members here in El Paso.
Yeah. They could have thrown in like the rock and roll crowd or the punk crowd as a high
Right.
school group. I thought they could have thrown that in, the person who
Gator
like dies
crowd.
there. Skaters. They could have thrown in skaters. Yep.
Right.
Into it as well. That would have been good. But yeah, we get the description of the social groups
I wonder if
in
she
high
had
school.
other clicks that they cut from the movie for it being PG-13. Maybe like hard drug crowd,
Hmm. Yeah. That would be,
psychedelic
yeah,
crowd.
because they say burnouts, but it's
That's
glossed
imply,
over.
yeah.
Yeah, it's glossed over pretty quick. They could have went with just like they could have added the group of like indeterminate age group. You know that high schooler who like looked way older than everybody.
Right.
You didn't know who he was. Like, dude, how old are you? Or like, dude, you drive yourself here?
Dude, what? You're a sophomore and you have a full
Right.
beard, bro?
Right. The guy who has a job on the weekends. Like,
Right.
dude, you work? You could have thrown in indeterminate age guys.
Has his own apartment. What?
Yes.
Wait, what?
Yeah, lives alone and is in high school guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would have liked that. That would have been funny. The groups would have been good. These days you would throw in, influencers or like
Oh god.
DJs.
Don't say that, Pat. Don't say that out
Yeah.
loud.
If you rewrote this movie, because I was looking at movies from 2004, if you rewrote this movie and made it rated R, I really think this movie could go in different places and could be that much better even. Like, because I'm looking at movies from 2004. There was a movie in 2004 called The Girl Next Door where Emil Hirsch dates a porn star or something who's in his high
Oh, right.
school. And it's a really good movie. It's interesting. It has to be rated R. And I think Mean Girls had rated R potential, kind of like the movie Heathers or Fast Times at Ridgemont High had
Right.
that edge to it. But Mean Girls has that right in the middle of the road, funny, serious, but also just pure comedy, pure silliness.
Well, I think the idea will probably, obviously the studio probably wanted a hard PG-13, but like so like Lindsay Lohan is like the heart of the movie, and then you would just have to assume that a lot of that R-rated material would have to do with her, and you would lose a lot of people that are like, oh, she's such an innocent character up until the point that she's not. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
maybe that has something to do with it.
Yeah, I don't think any Lorne Michaels or SNL produced movie has ever been rated R, not to my knowledge. So it would be
Yeah,
very out of character if they did make it that.
MacGruber is hard R though.
Oh, is it really MacGruber
Yeah.
is? I stand corrected.
You haven't seen MacGruber?
No, I never was
Oh
into
fuck.
MacGruber.
Dude, that movie is that's like me and my brother, like we bond over that movie, how outrageous it is. Which is funny because it does have like a hardcore sex scene
Oh,
between
does it really?
yeah, him and Kristen Wiig is like his love interest. And he's mounting her and he's like, oh, I'm gonna shoot! I'm gonna fucking shoot!
Oh, wow, I stand corrected on the rated R SNL movie then.
Yeah. I guess that's the
MacGru-
only exception.
I gotta see MacGruber now. Any other thoughts on Mean Girls before we go to the categories? We talked Regina George, SNL. We talked Tim Meadows. Well, Tim Meadows just has to be in every 45, every 35 minutes of this movie. We have a Tim Meadows scene. Oh, I want to
Right.
get back to the Tina Fey part of the scene. I obviously she wrote this, but if you just watch this scene, Tina Fey comes off as just so angry and bitter and jilted when Tim Meadows comes in. Oh no, when Lindsay Lohan bumps her with the coffee and she's like, oh, sorry. And she's like, no, it's me. I'm bad luck. I'm like, good God, it's the first day of school. You're already
Right.
bummed out. And then Tim Meadows like, how was your summer? And she's like, I got divorced. And he goes, my carpal tunnel came back. She's like, I win. I'm like, what a, geez, this girl sounds horrible. This teacher sounds horrible.
Right. Well, yeah,
Strange.
I mean, it's kind of established that, like, yeah, she's like divorced. I mean,
Hmm.
and then like she has like a second job, like
Oh,
bartending
right,
to
right. She has
pay
the
for the
second job.
divorce.
Right.
So yeah, I can understand how she's a little miffed by life.
Yeah. I can't fully understand Tina Fey's character in this movie. She's interested in Lindsay Lohan, but she's bummed out about her life. She doesn't want to be there, but she wants to counsel the mathletes. I didn't
Right.
fully get her character.
It's
And
almost
she
like
has
she
all
was
the
just. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was like, and then she has all like the little quick-witted Tina Fey lines.
Right. It's almost like she's there just like to supervise the script almost.
Yeah, she was kind of like the guidance counselor of the
Yeah.
script. Just sort of pushed it in each direction there. And the other thing I had on the opening scene, again, it's so odd when Tim Meadows first comes in the classroom. Like, are we supposed to believe that the principal and the teacher are having this conversation while the whole class looks at him? He's like,
Right.
"So, how was your summer?" I'm like, "Aren't you teaching a class?"
Right. Yeah, it's a little out there. Yeah, and then she just got her shirt is complete or she walks in. Yeah, if you walk in on your teacher with her top off, you're gonna be like, you're fired.
Right. But that was a good part of the movie where like you're watching this movie and like Tina Fey's pulling her shirt up in the first, 5 minutes of the movie. You're like, whoa, what is this
Yeah.
movie? All right. It's pretty wild that that is actually in the movie.
You know what I had a theory of, or not even a theory. I was just thinking it was funny. So, so it's pretty obvious that his the principal is on to has an eye for Tina Fey's
Oh, did you think
teacher
so?
character.
I
I think so,
couldn't,
yeah.
you
Well, they
thought he,
dance at the end of the movie too,
oh,
so
that's true.
that kind of reinforces my theory. I had this theory that he's just like pent up and like super horny, and then he hurt his hand fucking just jerking it also.
He needed a better hand story for how he got it in the
Yeah,
cast there because it was kind of silly. He's like, I got carpal tunnel, but he has a huge cast on. Like, you
yeah.
don't get a cast for carpal tunnel.
And then what activity are you doing that you don't get in both wrists as well and both
Yeah,
hands?
that's true.
So I
Yeah.
was like, oh, is that a little um tease what Easter egg that he's just whacking it like crazy?
Tim Meadows. At one point in the movie, he's got the white beater T-shirt on. He has the bat when like all the
Oh
girls
yeah.
go crazy. It is pretty funny to this whole movie is, girl centric. There isn't a lot of like the boys aren't doing a whole lot in this movie. This is just purely girls' social status, social structure of a movie, which was pretty funny when they bring them all in the gym to have the talk with them. It's just sort of yeah, dudes would never do any of this. Dudes wrestle and then
Right.
that's about it.
Oh, right. When the burn book is scattered
Right, when the
throughout the
burn, yeah.
hallways.
Also,
Yeah.
the movie does this thing every so often where it reverts back to um how animals would act in the wild.
That's
There's
an
that,
interesting theme in the movie too that I
yeah,
kind
that
of really go ahead. I'm sorry.
I it feels like they had bigger ideas for that theme and it really only came up in one real scene where she's like, this is what would happen in the wild, and then they all reenact it. But I didn't fully I was like, what's the point of this again?
Right. Yeah, because that was a reoccurring sort of theme that was like, So
Yeah, how
when
many
people
times
are
does it
putting
happen? It happens in that one
happens quite a
lunchroom
bit.
scene. What's the other parts? I can't remember.
So it's uh, like around like almost it's like when Lindsay Lohan is I don't know, she's describing like how she's like walking the hallways. So it's like, oh, just like they act like animals would back in Africa around the watering hole. So
Oh,
there's
that's
that.
right. The mall. They're in the mall, right?
Oh, the mall. I'm sorry. Yeah,
Yeah, by
I
the
think it's
water. That's
in
right.
the yeah yeah. It happens like around three times, and then there's one time. Yeah, so like three or four times. So I was kind of like,
Yeah,
so
you sort of forget like, oh, this is a theme they do in this movie.
right,
I could have done without it. All right,
right. It was a
let's go to the categories. Category number one, if you didn't see this whole movie, just the opening scene, what would you expect? So the opening scene, if I just walk us through it, Lindsay Lohan goes through the high school. So we get the high school campus montage. We got the somebody's burning something. Something's on fire on the school lawn in the beginning. And then we get the part where she goes in the classroom and can't find anywhere to sit. And then we get the introduction of the kid who farts, which
God.
I always love the high school kid who is just known for farting. And then she bumps into Tina Fey's character and spills the coffee, and we're off and running. So if we just saw this opening scene, what would you expect from this movie? Like you can answer this perfectly because you had never seen this movie. You watched just the opening scene and went from there.
Right. So let's say I cut it off at the classroom scene. Maybe like like a sort of like a revenge, a la Carrie, like that sort of revenge high school. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, like Lindsay Lohan's character's getting revenge on somebody or
Right.
something.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Something
Take it
along those
another
lines.
take it
What
another direction. Yeah.
you can go ahead and say yours because I had another idea of how I thought it could turn out, but it's not. I didn't write it down, but I'll remember it in a little bit.
My thought was this is just going to be a teenage romance drama. You know, she's new to school, learning the
Right.
ropes type of thing. She's going to find the dude she likes. She's going to figure it out. And somehow the teacher is going to mentor her
Hmm.
more than what she actually did in the movie. So that was my thought. If you just watch that opening scene alone is,
Right.
we got a classic high school movie here.
Hmm. Yeah. That. Oh, so now I remember. So like it would be like not so much centered on Lindsay Lohan. It'd be like more of like a Dazed and Confused, like kind of looking at all spectrums of the
Hmm.
student body and like how that sort of full all encompassing narrative overview.
Oh, you know who else we could have added to the list of teenage groups was people who are obsessed with their car
Oh
group
yeah.
in there. Like there was always that dude. In my school, it was like trucks, like who had the big wheels on their truck, who lowered their truck, who put speakers in their car. Those
Lower their
speak,
truck.
yeah, we had some lowered trucks. And then speakers. Do you remember how big a deal speakers were? Like a sound system was to have in your car?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, was it still a thing for in your days?
It should be. No, but a lot of people nowadays wear AirPods.
Yeah. But yeah,
But
back in the day,
yeah.
you would go out to someone's car after school and he would blast his speakers for you.
In fact, I think I had a girl dump me because I didn't have like a good sound system in my car. She was like, it's like, what? Can I connect my phone? Like, oh, I don't have anything.
And
Few
that
few
girl
weeks
loved them.
later.
And that girl dumped you and you never saw the movie Shallow Hal.
Exactly.
Exactly. You were like, I am not a cop.
I'm not. You're not a fucking cop.
I'll have cranberry juice.
What are you?
Um,
What are you on your fucking period?
Next category, character check. All the characters in this opening scene. We had Lohan as Katie Herring, Tina Fey as Miss Newberry, Damien and Janice, and Tim Meadows as Mr. Duval were all the characters in this scene. I'll give an honorable mention to the guy who farts. I think
Of course.
he was in the scene, or the scene where the chick makes out with the dude. Like she's like, "Don't sit there. My boyfriend's gonna sit there," and she makes out with him.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I think those were
Talk
our
to me
main
again.
characters.
Yeah. Oh, so now we're going. So we're gonna do the classroom cutoff.
Oh, it's up to you. It's up to you
I agree.
where
Yeah.
you determine the opening scene should cut off.
Oh yeah. Well, I have all those. Yeah. I mean, but if we go with your, so if you say it extends past that, then we almost have all like the main characters in the movie in the opening scene.
Yeah, that's true because we get the plastics if we extend out that scene where Janice and Damien take her to the back building and there's no building there. They're just hanging out
Right.
on the field. Yeah, we get that scene. And then they have like, I think like a PE class goes on. And then we get to meet the plastics and Regina George. Yeah, pretty much everybody gets in there except for the one dude, the love interest
Right.
is
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
next scene. So we get all those characters in there. Next category surprises. I have two things that kind of stuck out to me that surprised me. One we already talked about, Tina Fey in a bra. Kind of like catches your attention in those first 5 minutes.
Yeah.
You're like, whoa, PG-13 movie, Tina Fey's in a bra, what's going on here? And then when Lindsay Lohan's character bumps into Tina Fey, she's holding a
Uh,
pretty good looking box of Dunkin' Donuts. I don't know if you noticed
oh,
that,
yeah, 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 yeah,
but
yeah.
you're like, whoa, these don't. She brought donuts for the class. What's going on there? Those are good.
That's also a good character layer too. To if now that you mention it, to add on Tina Fey,
Oh, she's
new
overeating
school
donuts.
year. No, no, no. New school year. Look, I'm gonna start off on a positive. Let me bring my new. I don't even know who my class is. I'm gonna get off on the right foot. Let's bring up some donuts.
Mm,
All that just fucking goes away. So it's just like, oh fuck yeah. It's like, oh, no, I'm bad luck. Of course, you think that. You're just trying to make a good impression with your students, and it just all is shit on.
yeah, yeah,
That's
that's true.
funny.
I almost feel like Tina Fey wrote a whole movie about her character, and then at the end it was like, okay, now I got to write this Mean Girl script.
Oh, I see.
You
Yeah,
know, it's like
I
she's there.
interject
You're right,
everything.
with the donuts, coffee, trying to get a fresh start. She got divorced. She's working at a bar, and then just this happens. This Mean Girls happens to be the movie, not her.
Yeah.
The other surprise I have, I forgot to mention it. There was a lot of product placement in this first scene of the movie. I noticed a can of Sprite, Doritos, Dunkin' Donuts, Dasani water, Red Bulls, Coca Cola, and a Gatorade bottle, all in the first 7 minutes of this. So much product placement.
Damn. Shameless.
Shameless. So much product placement. Had to pay for the Tim Meadows salary.
Right. I mean, how much money can they really be getting from all that product placement? What is it, a million each?
Yeah, probably so. The other thing, with the openings or surprises, I don't know if this is a surprise or not, but it struck me as odd. They do the thinking the black student is the Africa student gag twice in this opening scene. They do it where Mr. Duvall says, like, we have a new student, she's from Africa, and Tina Fey goes to the one black student, welcome. And she's like, no, I'm from Michigan. And she goes, right,
Yeah. She
right.
said it so like, she's like, I'm from Michigan. Like it's
Yeah.
like that. It's so good, dude.
Good line delivery. Yeah, she's like, I'm from Michigan. She goes, right. And then when Lindsay Lohan's character goes into the lunchroom and she's like, I had lots of friends in Africa. She goes up to the black table and goes, Jumbo. And they look
Oh
at her.
yeah,
Oh, we're like, you did the same gag twice in 7 minutes. Mean
yeah.
Girls. I don't know if that was
I,
a surprise, but I found that odd.
I have it actually in my like surprises, my surprise category.
What did you have for surprises in the opening scene?
I had exactly not that entirely. I had the non woke
Oh,
humor
non-woke. That's good.
and like the also like the homeschooled like country kids like
Right.
what does he say? What ward us away from blank and homosexuals.
Right.
So all that and like yeah, like the Africa joke. I was like, whole like it's hilarious. Like, don't get me
Yeah.
wrong, but like the nothing like would not fly nowadays.
Right. Also, the
Unfortunately,
farting, even the farting guy probably wouldn't fly these days.
yeah,
It would be something like, oh, he's lactose intolerant. You have to
yeah,
be,
yeah. You're
you have to,
being insensitive to heavyset people.
probably, the biggest one is when they introduce Damien and Janice is like, this is Damien. He's too gay to function.
Yeah, maybe that would like get a pass,
You think it would get a
but
pass?
I think so. Yeah, for some reason we still think gay people are funny, so I think that would probably get a pass.
The overly gay student in high school is definitely a genre that I don't feel movies really address that well. Well, in the '80s they did, but
Yeah,
nowadays 2000s on, I don't think they really did.
yeah.
Any more surprises?
No, that was I had that written down. Yeah, the non-woke humor. But then like I shouldn't be surprised though. But like again, like it was my first time watching the movie, so I was like, oh shit, I was a little jolted. But yeah,
Right.
different time.
Uh, Maybe we should throw into surprises Tim Meadows' huge cast for having simply carpal tunnel syndrome.
Right.
Huge cast. on Tim Meadows. Next category, best part of the scene. Now this one's tough because the opening scene goes long. There's narration, there's music, then there's not music. It's chopped up a bunch. I struggled with this one, but I would have to give the best part of the opening scene is that classroom scene. Introduces the
Right.
characters. We see Damien and Janice. We see Tina Fey give her Tina Fey lines. So I'm going to give it to the classroom scene.
Yeah. Yeah, there's not a lot of meat to be picked at. What is the category again? I'm sorry.
Best part of the scene.
Best part of the scene. I mean, for me, it'd probably be like the very opening where it's sort of implied that it's like maybe like a like a kindergartner's first day of school, and it ends up being Lindsay Lohan.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the whole movie is essentially, yeah, the high school montage.
Yeah.
So, and they're fitting so much into those opening few minutes of the movie. So, yeah, I give it to the classroom. Classroom scene is the best part. Although, if we extend our opening scene to
Hmm.
when the plastics are introduced, that first scene where they tell Lindsay Lohan to sit at their lunch table is really, really good. Where like Regina George is kind of like playing the little mind games with her, saying if she's pretty and like where'd she get her bracelet.
Oh
Like
yeah.
that would be excellent.
You're pretty. Oh, thank you. Oh, so you think you're pretty? It's
Right.
like, what the fuck?
Total girl mind games where
Right.
she's like, "You're from Africa?" I was like, "Yeah, yeah, shut up. I
Right.
didn't say anything." She's a step behind these girls from the
You're
start.
you're from Africa? Oh yeah. Well, then why are you white?
Oh yeah, there we go. Non woke.
Funny.
Next category.
Good shit. Sorry.
Uh, last um last category, scene winner. So who won the scene? I went with the high school montage won the scene. Just high school montages in general. Every movie in high school, it seems like we have to have a montage.
Yeah, for sure. Oh yeah, almost in every high school movie, to be quite honest with you.
Right. I would almost say we need more than one. We need a
Oh, more
beginning,
than one.
more than one montage. Like we need a intro montage. We need like a montage where they're studying or something,
Right.
or where they're like painting a house. We need a
Right.
montage like that. We need more than one high school montage.
Um. By the way, what is your favorite? Like, all bullshit aside, what's your favorite high school movie? If you have to pick one.
And I can't say The Departed, right? Okay. Let me think. Favorite high school movie? Well, I do love Fast Times at Ridgemont
I
High.
knew you were gonna say that.
I don't know if it'll be my favorite though, but
Oh,
because Dazed and Confused is pretty high up there
yeah.
as a good high school movie. What are the other ones though? You got what are some of the 80 oh like some 80s ones like Say Anything. Um it's got to be between those two. Name some other ones. I'm trying to think of other high school movies. She's All That. Could we go through? Oh, you know what I would throw in there? 10 Things I Hate About You.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
That's a fun high school movie.
That's a good one.
Hmm. I might go Dazed and Confused.
Probably, yeah, probably me too. I
Oh,
was,
honorable mention, Friday Night Lights.
but is that a high school movie or in so much as or is that a
Yeah,
football? I don't know.
right, right. That's
Little
not a
Gray,
Little Gray. Yeah, not a traditional high school movie. Yeah.
right?
Yeah. What do you think? What's your ranking of high school movies?
I probably go. Yeah, you see, I like Rushmore a lot, so that and Days and Confused are neck and neck for me.
Mm, really? You have Rushmore that high up there, huh?
Oh yeah,
Huh.
yeah, but it's also like one of my favorite movies too. So it's so just based on its ranking in my film rankings, and then once you introduce a high school, so it's like it catapults all the way to the top.
Where does your high school movie viewing begin? Like, what movie would you say started your interest in it? Because, I'm older than you. So mine kind of starts with movies in the 80s, but I didn't see them in the theaters. I saw them later
Right.
on TV. So, I'm late 80s of a high school movie. Where does it start for you?
like high school movie like as a genre.
Or like what's like one that was the early impact on you as a movie that was set
Dazed
in
and
high school?
Confused.
Really?
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that movie like entering high school. So like
Ah,
I kind of had like this sort of idea of what to expect in a kind of really convoluted way. But
did movies like Varsity Blues or She's All That type of movies ever get in your universe, or was that not? Would you say those weren't like those are more MTV, not cool movies?
yeah, it's too heartthrobby. Like yeah, I couldn't relate to those movies. But yeah, Dazed and Confused like definitely, especially because I knew I was gonna play football too, and then going in as a freshman into like a really unknown environment.
Yeah.
So yeah, it rung true to me.
Oh, I
Hit
should have
home,
thrown
as they
in.
say.
I should have thrown in as a high school movie favorite, Teen Wolf.
Teen Wolf. No, I never. You know what? I never even saw Teen Wolf. They
Never
like
seen
Sam
Teen
Apples.
Wolf?
No,
Well, it was, it's like 1985 is when that movie came out.
a little
But
before my time.
that's a good high school movie. I'm gonna spoil it for you. He turns into a wolf, a teen wolf.
Wow, he's a werewolf.
He's a werewolf, and
Get
he
out of
plays
here.
basketball. Hey, it's true. It happened. The movie happened.
Yeah.
It was written. They filmed
Go
it. It is real.
go home and get your shine box, Pat.
High school movies, yeah, Dazed and Confused has got to be number one for me. Close second, Fast Times. So if I put Mean Girls in there, I mean, I would say if Dazed and Confused and Fast Times is a power school is like your Big Ten or Pac-12, I'm gonna say Mean Girls is a mid major. I'm gonna say it's
Yeah,
in there. It's a Boise State 10-1 season.
it's almost like you can't put it high up on the list because it's so fresh, even though it's almost 20 years old.
Hmm.
Isn't that the case with most like when people ask you, "Oh, what are your favorite gangster movies?" and you're like, "Oh, The Irishman." It's like that movie just came out like a couple
Oh,
years
okay.
ago. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like it's
Yeah.
almost like legacy movies take precedent over like new agey
Hmm.
Irishman, the list goes on and on.
Yeah, and also I say this movie, I mean, it's 84 on Rotten Tomatoes, but I would not say this movie is anything but like a silly comedy. Like there's not a lot going on in this, not a lot of drama going on in this movie. There's no there's no sex, there's no like real like conflict. It's just a girl who gets popular and is mean for half a semester. That's really it. That's all that is. The interesting part about this movie is the social constructs of high school, but that's it, really. Like, there's not a lot going on in this movie. It's all characters. It's all the performances of Regina George and the plastics and stuff. I don't know. I didn't think this movie was as good as it was on the rewatch.
So, am I hearing this correctly? You're saying the movie is a little bit overrated
I think it's correctly rated. I would
at
say it's
84?
I would say it's good. It achieved what it set out to accomplish, and it's enjoyable. But if I were to like say like, oh, where can we improve this movie? You got to make this movie about Regina George.
Do you think that knowing the Rotten Tomato score of a movie affects the way that you looked at the movie, that you view the movie like before? Like, let's say you've never seen the movie before, then you know the score. Does it affect the way that you watch the movie
Yeah,
and
I think
perceive the movie?
sometimes. Yeah, I think sometimes if I see a movie has a high Rotten Tomatoes score and like I don't like an actor or actress or writer of it, then I purposely will not like it. I'm like, this is bullshit. Critics don't know what
Yeah.
they're talking about. This is just a popularity contest. Yeah, I will deduct points for that sometimes.
Does it ever happen to you where it has like a really high score and then you don't like the movie? Like just
Hmm.
internally, you're having this sort of discussion, like, I didn't like that movie. But when people ask you, hey, how was the movie? It was good. It was good. Just lie through your fucking teeth just because you know, like, it's like universally, like, no, like, it's a
Yeah.
good movie. Like, but you're like, that's good, I guess. But
No, I
like
wouldn't
inside,
lie about it.
oh, you
I would
wouldn't.
say I hated it if I hated it.
Fuck. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Much
would say like
respect
that
then.
movie sucked.
Right.
You know, I can't think of one as an example, though, one that's high in Rotten Tomatoes that I didn't like.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're out there where like if everybody likes a movie, then I'm gonna start to hate it. Like I know myself. I know my brain, dude. Everyone's like, this movie's so good. I'm
Oh.
like, I bet that movie sucks. I hate
Yeah,
it.
let's see what movie you deem worthy, and then you want. Yeah, sucks.
Yeah. Yeah. What about
Huh.
you? Are you thrown by Rotten Tomato scores?
But like I said earlier, it does affect the way that I watch the movie. So like, I'll be like, oh shit, like, let's say like certain things aren't like really like working for me, like with the movie. I just like give it like a pass. I'm like, oh well, that's why. Like, I don't know. It ruins the movie for me almost.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Unless it's like a really good movie like Mission Impossible Fallout or like yeah Maverick, like movies that are just like of course they're badass.
Oh, let me throw in another high school movie I forgot about. All the Right Moves.
All
Did you
the
ever,
is that it? Go ahead.
did you ever see All the Right Moves? Tom Cruise. It's
No,
a
okay, yeah, I was
movie from the 80s. Tom Cruise is an undersized defensive back on his football team for some town where football is a big deal. And but in the 80s, you know, if you were smart, you were into computers, and Tom Cruise was into computers. So,
oh no.
yeah, that was his goal. Like computers and football was his ticket out of there. Yeah, and
What the
they have the pep rally, they have the seniors. Yeah, it's good. It's a good high school movie.
Yeah, I really don't like I'm like pre Mission Impossible. I haven't seen many Tom Cruise like I did see the Francis Ford Coppola movie. What is The Outsiders?
Yeah, Outsiders, Godfather, of course.
Color of Money. I've seen those, but other than that, not
Okay,
really.
you have a few in there. Color of
Just
Money.
just two, just two,
All right, just
but then
us
nothing.
two.
Yeah, yeah,
Right, you're in
yeah. Like
the you might
go ahead.
even be in the last generation of the blockbuster movie
Hmm.
where a title came out and it was like, "What's the date? I'm going to this movie." I don't feel like we have blockbusters anymore,
Yeah,
or even
just
movie stars for that matter. And that you might have been the last generation of it.
we do have a big movie coming out next Friday though. Avatar 2. Does that count?
Avatar 2 would be a blockbuster. Yes, I would say it is.
Because I really wasn't pumped to see it, but I saw a trailer for it like a couple weeks ago. I was like, oh, that looks kind of badass.
Hmm. That's true. Maybe the blockbusters making a comeback.
Could be. Yeah, we went through a drought with the COVID.
Yeah.
So
COVID, a
maybe,
lot of straight to streaming type of movies.
yeah, we got a little too comfortable with this straight to streaming platforms bullshit.
Yeah.
I don't like it. I personally don't like it.
Yeah,
I
I
like it when the
agree. I
movie.
agree. There's something about going to the movies.
Yeah.
And also there's something about seeing a movie with a bunch of people who are also seeing the movie for the first time too.
Hmm.
Like you're sitting in the theater and it's a surprise to everybody, you know, and
Right.
you hear everybody's reactions to it. I
Hmm.
was in a movie theater once and it was one of the first times I heard my mom cuss. Oh no, sorry, she didn't cuss. She laughed at cussing. We went to go see the Blair Witch Project opening day or opening night, and the movie film projector broke, and the
Oh.
movie stopped all of a sudden. It just goes black, and we're all sitting there for a few seconds, and someone yells out from the back, "Fix this shit!" And my mom started laughing. I never heard my mom laugh when it came to cussing before, so I wouldn't have got it if I
That's
was in the theater.
that's so that I would never envision your mom taking you to see the Blair Witch Project.
Yeah, she took me and
Did
my
you want to go
brothers.
see it or what?
I'm not a big scary movie guy,
Oh,
so I probably went along with her and my other brother,
oh
and we saw
wow.
it opening weekend. And yeah, the projector broke, and someone said, "Yelled, fix this shit."
That's right, because Steve is a huge horror fan.
Yeah, I went with my brother Steve, who was into scary movies. So yeah, that's why we went, and the projector broke.
That's hard. That's a hardcore fucking movie to go see.
Yeah, we went to go
You
see
can
it, and we walked out. We thought it was real.
Yeah, right. That is crazy. I could barely. I saw that movie like just like at home, and I was like, yeah, this is like the most intense movie I think ever made.
Yeah, we thought it was real. This was the days before the internet. We thought like,
Yeah,
oh, they
right.
really found footage. You
Fuck,
know,
that is
hey, maybe we
bonkers.
should add a category to to our series. What about this? Stories from the theater. And then we can tell a story that's happened to us in a movie theater specifically.
Oh God, I got a good list.
All right, I'm going to write that down. Let's add that for next month.
Just off the top, I got 5 deep already, and I'm barely counting.
Oh, all right. Well, give us a taste.
Okay, so let's see which one I want to. Let's see. So I'll tell like a more lighthearted one. So me and my friend Stevie Ray, shout out Stevie Ray, we went to go see Interstellar. Like it took a lot of finagling, but like, dude, let's go check out Interstellar. So we go check out Interstellar. We're already I gotta mention also we're already black. We're at a bar and we're already blacked out. We're like, dude, let's go see Interstellar, bro.
It's like a 3-hour movie too.
Let's go fucking see it. So we sneak in beer too. So on top of already being loaded, we're getting even more loaded at the theater. So like it's like the final act of the movie. And then my friend Stevie's like, oh my God, he's like, I gotta fucking go pee, dude. I was like, you can't just wait. There's like 20 minutes left, man. He was like, I'll be right back. So the movie keeps rolling. He walks down to the bathroom. He comes back about like a minute later. And I was like, and then I'm like, kind of like, I thought you said you were going to go to the bathroom. He's like, dude, I pissed in the theater. I couldn't miss a single second. So he was like,
wow. So he didn't want to miss the movie.
You know, like how you're walking up, there's like that aisle with like the handrail. So he like went down there, like pissed, like I guess on the wall or on the floor while still watching the movie. And I was like, you are disgusting, and I'm never going to fucking movies with you ever.
Wow. What scene was it? Was it the scene where Matthew McConaughey's crying or something? He was like, I can't miss this.
No, I think it was the black hole scene. So I was like, okay, well that's I was like, okay, so then you made the right choice, even though like you probably broke some laws and very disgusting. But so that's just it's the taste.
Okay, that's a taste. Adrian's friend pissed himself to watch the end of Interstellar.
No, didn't piss himself. Pissed in the theater.
Oh, jeez.
He violated the place. No one go to the Stella Vista Cinemark because it's contaminated.
Oh, be careful. That's a hazard zone. That's a biohazard zone now.
His DNA is all over the place.
Well, this was opening scenes, Mean Girls. We got off track a little bit on this one. I'm going to say it was still worth it, though.
Gives a fuck.
Opening scenes, Mean Girls, our second installment. Another one coming next month. Cousin Adrian, thanks for joining me. See you next month. We got a killer lined up. Okay, that is it. That is opening scenes. That is Mean Girls from 2004. I want to thank Adrian for joining for yet again another eye-opening installment of opening scenes. Like I said, we are doing this monthly. There's going to be 4 different movies. We've done 2. So what's coming next? You're going to have to wait and see. The categories, the jokes, the laughs, the Mean Girls. It was all there. Don't forget, if you're new to the channel, give it a like, give it a subscribe as well. That helps the channel. And we grow, more shows coming, more stand-up clips coming as well. So, thank you for listening. Thank you, Adrian. Thank you, Opening Scenes. What happened, Lindsay Lohan? What happened? See you next time.